test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello.
Hey, this is David.
Hey, this is David.
Hey, David. Long time no hear.
I know. How you been?
Yeah. Had a great lunch. About all I can report. So we're going to put you on mute for right now.
Okay.
This is Dorothy Grisham. I'm on the line.
Hi, Dorothy. It's David.
Hey, David. I was trying to get you guys on my web conference so I could see you, but I don't see that.
We're not going to be. We're just going to be on the phone for this one.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Well, I'm here.
Okay. I'll have you on mute for a second.
That's fine. Thank you.
leave it to you to call us to order, sir.
And by the way, Ron Ramsey's here too.
Hey, Lieutenant Governor.
How y'all doing?
Okay.
Well, I think then let's see. David, I'll let you go ahead and call the roll here and make sure we have a quorum and explain those things we need to explain.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I call the roll, I'm going to call each of your names, and in accordance with Tennessee Code 844-108, Section C3, I'll have two questions. If you could answer for the record, each of you, if you're able to hear us clearly from this location so that you can participate in the meeting, and then identify if there's anybody in the room with you, if you would please, when I call your name. Dr. Alsop. Miss Ayers.
I'm present.
Mr. DiCarlo. Mr. Varner.
I am here and I am alone.
Mr. Golden.
I'm sorry.
I'm alone also.
I am present and also alone.
Well,
Ms. Grisham.
I am alone and I am present.
Dr. Latimer.
I can hear you clearly, and I'm present and alone.
Mr. Powell.
I can hear you fine, and I am alone.
Mr. Ramsey.
I can hear you fine. I'm alone also here.
Chairman Niswanger.
I'm present and I'm lonely.
Those present in the room here, in the President's conference room, are you able to hear those participating electronically?
Yes.
We have an affirmative from the room. Mr. Chairman, I do not detect a physical quorum. However, a quorum does exist by the inclusion of those members participating by electronic means. In accordance with Tennessee Code 844-108, Section B2, I would offer up to the committee the following circumstances which necessitate the reason for holding this meeting. Number one, East Tennessee State University will undergo an accreditation visit by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on College occurring May 15 through 17. Number two, it is necessary for the Board of Trustees to meet in order to approve necessary policies pertaining to required operational items for the institution, as well as required transfer of ETSU's WETS-FM radio station for the Federal Communications Commission prior to the institutional visit by SACS. Number three, the prompt necessity of the board's meeting did not provide adequate time for our trustees to make necessary arrangements to be physically present for a quorum. And for those reasons, I would contend that participation by a quorum of the board members by electronic means is necessary. Mr. Chairman, I ask that a motion be made and a roll call vote be taken for determination on the necessity of holding this meeting. An affirmative vote will signify that a necessity does exist for this meeting to proceed. A dissenting vote will signify that a necessity does not exist.
All right, and David, I believe we had one other join. Who joined the call?
Hey, it's Steve DiCarlo.
Oh, Steve. Okay, good. Glad you're on. All right.
Mr. DiCarlo, are you by yourself there in your room?
I am by myself in my room.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So,
All
Mr.
right,
Chairman, at this point, we'll entertain a motion for the affirmative vote to have this meeting electronically.
All right. Do I have a motion?
This is David Golden. I so move.
And a second, please.
Jim Powell, I second.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, this will require a roll call vote because we are electronic, so I'll call the roll if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
All right. Dr. Alsop is not here, sorry. Miss Ayers.
Yes.
Mr. DiCarlo.
Yes.
Mr. Golden.
Yes.
Ms. Grisham.
Present and yes.
Dr. Latimer.
Yes.
Mr. Powell.
Yes.
Mr. Ramsey.
Yes.
Chairman Niswanger.
Yes. David, I have a question. Would it be possible for us to roll all of these motions together for approval, or do you want to do them one at a time?
it would be best for the record that we do each of the action items one at a time. So there are 4 different action items.
All right. We'll start, let's see, with approval of the minutes.
The minutes from the March 24th meeting of the board have been included in your meeting materials. If the board is willing, in the motion, you can make the motion to accept the minutes as they are presented to you in the meeting materials, allowing for the edit of any clerical errors later. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Mr. Chairman, it's Jim Powell. I so move.
All right.
This is David Golden. I second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Ayers,
Yes.
Mr. DiCarlo,
Yes.
Mr. Golden,
Yes.
Ms. Grisham,
Yes.
Dr. Latimer,
Yes.
Mr. Powell,
Yes.
Mr. Ramsey,
Yes.
Chairman Niswonger.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Okay, transfer of WETS.
Yes, sir. For your information, trustees, this is relates to WETS-FM, which is a public radio station that the university has run for many years in partnership with the station's listeners. It operates 24 hours a day on 89.5 in the Tri-Cities, Virginia area, and can be heard throughout the world on the World Wide Web. As a condition of holding this FM broadcast license, which is actually a pretty substantial license, I believe we operate at a higher power than many other public radio channels. The FCC requires that we file paperwork with them explaining the change in governance of the university from the Tennessee Board of Regents to the ETSU Board of Trustees. And there has been an attorney that has been working out of Washington, D.C. to complete the application, which includes information, your contact information as trustees for the university. And so today we would ask for a motion that you as a board authorize the submission of this application for control of the radio station from the Tennessee Board of Regents to the ETSU Board of Trustees.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept that the WTES change and that we go forward with it.
Okay, do I have a second?
Linda Latimer has a second.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Roll call, please, David.
Okay. Ms. Ayers? Mr. DiCarlo?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Grisham?
Yes.
Dr. Latimer?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Ramsey?
Yes.
Chairman Niswonger?
Yes.
And Ms. Ayers? We may have lost Ms. Ayers, but otherwise the motion carries.
Oh, I'm here. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I was on mute. I said yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
I said yes lots of times. I was on mute.
Sorry, one of the difficulties
I get it.
in having a telephone meeting.
Okay. No comment.
Too cute, Janet.
All right. Next is Policy, Academic and Student Affairs Committee. Dr. Bach, will you present, please?
Well, so in speaking with Dr. Bach today, these policies were presented to the Academic and Student Affairs Committee of the Board of Trustees at their most recent meeting and were recommended to the full Board of Trustees for their approval today at this Board of Trustees meeting. There are 4 policies in that section that relate to academic freedom, definition of faculty types and appointments, promotion of faculty members, and tenure of faculty members. These policies have been vetted through Dr. Bach's staff and then through the shared governance process of the university, including approval by the university's academic council recently. Dr. Bach, do you have anything to add?
No, they've all four been presented to the Academic Student Affairs Committee of the Board.
Are there any questions about those four policies?
Any comment from the committee chair?
No, we just want a motion to accept these policies.
All right. Okay, I accept that then as the motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Janet Ayers.
All right, roll call, please, Dr. Linville.
Ms. Ayers?
Yes.
Mr. DiCarlo?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Grisham?
Yes.
Dr. Latimer?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Ramsey?
Yes.
Chairman Niswonger?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Number 6, appeals to board and UAPA. David?
There are two policies here that have not gone through any committee of the board because they relate to high-level functioning of the board in terms of how the board operates with appeals directly to the board and the circumstances which allow for that to happen. And additionally, there's a second process in the state of Tennessee provided for in code, which is the Uniform Procedures Act, which is overseen by, I believe, the Secretary of State's office. And so we have to have policies and procedures available for those individuals which would like to pursue that type of appeal option as well. They are both outlined for you in your meeting materials today. They are basically directly related to exactly the same language that were in policies that the Tennessee Board of Regents had. They're very directly related to Tennessee Code Annotated and are here for your consideration today. Mr. Kelly, the University Council, is here with us today in the President's conference room on the phone. Mr. Kelly, do you have anything to add about these two policies?
No, David, I think you covered it. The Uniform Administrative Procedures Act is pretty much codified in the Tennessee Code. The language of this was adapted from the Tennessee Board of Regents policy. The appeal to the Board of Trustees policy is a limited policy. It's more significant in what's not appealable to the Board of Trustees. I talked with Mickey Sheen from the Tennessee Board of Regents today. He'd indicated it's extremely rare for a matter to come up and meet all the requirements of that policy, but they've had that policy in place for a number of years, and we've maintained the same policy.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Do I have a motion that we adopt these policies?
Linda Latimer moves to adopt the policies.
And a second, please.
David Golden seconds.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Ayers?
Yes.
Mr. DiCarlo?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Grisham?
Yes.
Dr. Latimer?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Ramsey?
Yes.
Chairman Niswonger?
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. This time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to President Nolan for the President's update.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, first, thank you for adjusting your schedules to participate in this call this afternoon. Much of the work that your staff is moving through is a function of our visit with SACS that will occur next week. For those of you who have been in conversation with members of other boards of trustees across the state, I'm sure you've realized that our timeline of activity may be slightly different than that for Middle Tennessee State University, Tennessee Tech, Austin Peay, University of Memphis, or Tennessee State. It was important for us to move these policies through the board in advance of the SACS visit. And as a point of the unique aspect of our timing, we are the first institution in the state to go through a substantive change visit. The next substantive change visit in the state will occur 4 months from today. So we recognize that things are moving at a sequence here that is a little unique, but we thank you for your patience with us, patience which will yield fruit next week with the SACS visiting team that's here on campus Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Mr. Chair, I just want to provide a couple of brief updates. First relates to the budget. The General Assembly is bringing its activity in Nashville to a close. We'll provide you with a full update on the outcome of that legislative session at our June 9th meeting of the board, but I do not anticipate any surprises as things wind to a close. So the manner in which we've built our budget projections for the fall, which includes operating revenues, support for a 3% salary enhancement, support for Lamb Hall, as well as deferred maintenance projects, remain within the queue. And as we are preparing our budget and working that through Mr. Carlo's Finance Committee, there have been no changes as a result of the actions last week in Nashville. My second item relates to graduation. I want to thank the chair for being with us for the morning commencement exercise, but particularly want to thank Janet Ayers for your commencement address to the graduating class in the afternoon. To say Janet did an outstanding job is an understatement. I have never watched a commencement speaker give an address from memory, give an address not at the podium, and give an address while a little bit under the weather. And Janet, on behalf of the university, I just want to say thank you. I thought Saturday afternoon was just outstanding.
Thank you, Brian.
Saturday was, to the best of our data at this point in time, the largest graduating class in the history of the university. And to quote Dr. Bach, we're now down 0 to 2,030 at the end of the first inning. Your staff and enrollment services is working hard to build the class. One of the joys of having a large graduating class is the opportunity for those students to realize their dreams. The work on our side is to ensure that we have enrollment in place for the fall so that we stay within our budgeted and projected enrollment ranges. And I'm pleased to report that as of the update we received today, we remain within our budget confidence intervals as it relates to enrollment for the fall. There's a lot of work occurring across campus to build the fall 2017 class, but I just cannot thank the trustees enough for being present on Saturday. And Scott, I hope that the pain that is in my hand is not in yours. I hope you've been able to wring it all out.
Well, if anybody ever needs to know the answer to the trivia question, how long does it take to shake 1,000 hands? It's 1 hour and 14 minutes.
Wow.
Mr. Chair, the last point relates to the SACS visit. You have received information from staff related to the visiting team and their presence on campus. There's an open invite to members of the board to join the SACS team on Tuesday at noon for a luncheon. We will provide to you between now and next week a very brief primer on accreditation, the roles of trustees, as well as some questions that they may have for you going into next week. But that time period on your calendar, we apologize for our inability to bring closure to this, but in many respects the time frame was developed by the visiting team. But next Tuesday at noon will be the luncheon with the visiting team. Mr. Chair, that concludes my brief report. I do not want to take a lot of time because we'll go into full detail at the June board meeting on enrollments, budgets, etc. Would be happy to address any questions from the board related to those items or any other items that might be of interest.
Any questions from board members for the good of the order? Having heard none, I'd like to thank Dr. Linville for an outstanding job in organizing today's meeting, and I'd like to have a motion for adjournment.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'll present some new business. This is Linda Latimer.
Okay, please,
okay.
Go ahead.
At our Academic and Student Affairs Committee, we were oriented about academic actions that do not require the board's approval, but they do require that the board receives notification. And I just wanted to bring to the board's attention that we're going to be sending those notifications by email to all the board members. And THEC has specified 3 specific dates it receives its notification. So we thought we would use those same 3 dates to be sending the board those notification emails that do not require action, but do require the board's notification. So when you receive those emails, I wanted you to be aware of what those are.
All right. Thank you, Linda. Anyone else? If not, I'll just move for adjournment.
This is David. I so move.
I have a second.
Second.
I think we can do a voice vote on this one. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, David.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Everyone have a great afternoon.
Have a great afternoon, everybody. Nice to talk with everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.